Hey everyone, it's Wasim here from the channel Handsome Smiles. Welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be doing my 10 fragrances for life, throw the rest of them away. It's a tag series started on YouTube many years ago. I think maybe 6 years ago. It was started by a reviewer called Timmy from Imagine Scents. He started this tag, and I believe from what I've just checked, he doesn't make videos anymore, so he's not a fragrance reviewer anymore, but he started this tag. A lot of fragrance reviewers then started doing this tag, and it was very interesting for me, like picking a collection of just 10 fragrances and seeing reviewers talk about their favorite 10 fragrances that they'll keep in their collection. It was just very interesting to me how many of the reviewers were picking fragrances which they typically don't speak about much on the channel. I felt like the reviews were and the videos were really genuine, and it was just very interesting to see the fragrances that they chose. It really like showed me what their personality and what their tastes are. Similar to me, like my choices here are going to be fragrances maybe I don't talk about enough on my channel, because especially a few years ago, my channel was really geared towards me just trying new fragrances, new oud oils, new attar oils, and then showing my experiences on YouTube. So many people maybe don't know what my style of fragrances are generally day to day. I was thankfully tagged in this series by 2 reviewers, and I believe I was tagged 5 years ago. So this video, or this tag video, has been in the works for a very long time, so to speak. I think back then I was just very focused on doing individual reviews. I was doing a lot of testing, especially oud oils and attar oils, which was in lockdown especially. I was just really testing them and wanting to do reviews. I wasn't really looking to do list videos, but just the past week I put a poll on in my community tabs on my channel, and I asked you guys what should be my next video, and the vast majority of you guys voted for this video, my 10 fragrances for life and throw the rest away sort of tag. So the tag series is very simple. You have to have a fragrance collection of only 10 fragrances. That's it. Those are your 10 fragrances for life. And yeah, I'm going to get started on my 10 fragrances. So this is not to say these are the best 10 smelling fragrances I've ever smelled, or these are the 10 greatest, most masterful artistic fragrances of all time. But these are 10 fragrances for me which I would keep in my collection if I had like a gun to my head. And a lot of the choices are, so to speak, practical reasons. They also have sentimental reasons as well as to why they're in my collection. So let's get this started. I picked Ormonde Man. Now, most of them are not in any particular order, but I'm going to speak about Ormonde Man first. This is Ormonde Man from the house of Ormonde Jayne, which is an English house. This is a house that's based out of London in England. And Ormonde Man for me is a fragrance which I've loved for possibly the last 6 or 7 years, maybe even longer. I think I've had a decant of it, 10ml decant, back in 2016, and it's a fragrance which I just really love. If someone asks me, what do you want other people to think you smell like? For me, it would be Ormonde Man. This is what I would want people to think is my signature fragrance. This fragrance, it epitomizes what a gentleman smells, like an English gentleman. This is how I would imagine James Bond smelling. Growing up, I always watched films like James Bond or other films where there's a classy gentleman dressed really nicely in a suit. And I always wanted to grow up to be like a classy person, you know, someone who wears good clothes, nice, well-fitted suits, and someone that smells nice and is just a proper gent. And that's why I'm drawn towards fragrances like this, like Ormonde Jayne's Ormonde Man. This fragrance, like I've mentioned, has a really classy, gentlemanly feel. When you first spray this fragrance on, it has a beautiful blast of citruses and a touch of fresh pink pepper. So it's a fresh and a slightly warm, spicy opening from that pink pepper, and there's a lot of lovely bergamot. As the fragrance develops on my skin, it becomes drier and woodier. There's a gorgeous little isoe super note in here that on my skin gives off like a cedar sort of woodiness. And deep in the dry down, this does become more woodier. So it has this lovely cedar wood, but the freshness of the opening still stays. And I still get that bergamot throughout the scent. I'm not sure how they did it. There's also a touch of juniper berries as well, which gives it a little bit more of the sweetness. I mean, the sort of brightness and juiciness. So juniper berry, bergamot in the opening. There's a lovely cardamom as well. There's some pink pepper. The sort of cardamom gives it a lovely green, sort of warm spiciness. So it's a gorgeous, woody, spicy scent. In terms of performance, Ormonde Man on my skin, it lasts around 8 hours, and projection is in the moderate range. It doesn't scream off your skin, but neither is it a fragrance which is quite soft as well. It projects in the moderate range, which makes this a fantastic choice for office wear. And for me, even though I work from home now, I'm not sure how long that will last. Our capitalist overlords are trying to push everyone back into the offices. So one day maybe I'm back in the office 5 days a week. And this would be a fragrance which I would really enjoy wearing to the office. You know, every day you go into the office wearing a nice shirt and you want to smell good. And in the office, you want to give off sort of like a professional vibe. You know, you want to give off the sense that, okay, this guy, he's serious about his career, he's a proper professional. And I think Ormonde Man from Ormonde Jayne really suits that. So yeah, this would be my first choice in my 10 fragrances for life. This is the scent, like I've mentioned, how I would want other people to imagine I smell like. So if they smell this and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's Wasim, that's his signature scent. So yeah, that's Ormonde Man from Ormonde Jayne. Now the next fragrance is actually what my signature scent would be, and how I would actually choose as my signature scent. So this is what I would want people to think I smell like. But this one, Rose 31 from Labo, is actually what my signature fragrance is, because this works so perfectly for my skin. The way this smells, it's magic on my skin. It feels like this fragrance was created for me. So whenever I wear Rose 31 by Labo, it doesn't actually smell like I'm wearing a fragrance. Like, it feels like I'm just emanating, like projecting a beautiful scent off me, and that's part of my skin. And I've just got a really lovely scent cloud, and that's just a natural nice smell about me. That's what Labo's Rose 31 smells like. It doesn't smell like I've sprayed something on. It just smells like my skin is just exuding a lovely scent. Rose 31 by Labo, as the name suggests, is a rose scent, but the rose for me is very balanced by the other notes in this fragrance. It's not a dominant rose scent. Even though rose is in the name, there's other notes in here which play an equal part to me. It's a very balanced fragrance. So Rose 31, let's give it a quick spray. The opening of this fragrance is a little bit off-putting to some people due to the intense spiciness, the fresh sort of spiciness that you get from the note of cumin. And I find the cumin just gorgeous. And a lot of people have complained about the opening, especially the cumin, saying that cumin smells to them like body odor. Some people have said the spiciness is so intense, it smells like Indian cooking. I read some reviews where someone was saying that it smells like their neighbor's house who are Indian and they cook loads of spicy food. For me, I don't know. I don't get an off-putting sort of spiciness. I just get a gorgeous, beautiful, like fresh sort of spiciness. And as the fragrance develops into the heart, it picks up a gorgeous rose. And the rose helps retain the spiciness of the opening. The rose in this isn't like a jammy rose. Don't think of, say, Armani Privé's Rose d'Arabie or Zerjov's Modern Words. Those rose scents are like really velvety and quite jammy roses. The rose in Rose 31 is a lot more bright and clean smelling, quite fresh, like a fresh rose, like rose water. And the freshness of the rose really, for me, gives off this sort of signature scent, very a rose scent which is very versatile. And as the scent develops, the spiciness of the opening, due to the cumin, fresh spiciness, the lovely clean, fresh rose in the heart, the dry down of this fragrance, you pick up a lovely woodiness. I believe there's a touch of vetiver in here, and especially you pick up a musk, a white musk, which works so well on my skin. It's like pure magic. So it's a very balanced rose scent with woods, musk, and spiciness, fresh spiciness from the cumin. And whenever I wear this, it just like projects and exudes a lovely scent, a bubble around me. Like I've said, it doesn't feel like I've sprayed a good fragrance on and it's my fragrance projecting. When I wear this, it feels like I'm projecting a nice scent. I've just got a natural, lovely scent around me. Rose 31 on my skin, it lasts around, I'd say, 7 to 8 hours. It's not a really long lasting fragrance. It will definitely, for me, last most of the workday, which I'm very happy with. And projection is in the moderate range. The first few hours, first couple of hours, it's quite strong, but then it's in the moderate range. It's not beast mode. It's going to invite rather than attract. But yeah, this is ideally what my signature fragrance would be. So that's Rose 31 from the house of Labo at number 2. Next on the list is a fragrance from the house of Hermes. This is a classic which was released in 2006 and created by Jean-Claude Ellena. It was really a darling of the early fragrance community, especially on like base notes for Grantica. I remember reading it during the time, early 2010s. This was really popular on YouTube as well. A lot of YouTubers were speaking about it. Not many people speak about it now. They're like talking about some other weird Middle Eastern brands and other brands that I've just never even heard of, like indie brands who just give out discount codes. But this is a total classic. This is Terre d'Hermès from the house of Hermès. And this fragrance I've had in my collection since I believe 2013. It's a 50ml bottle, which in the last couple of years I've tried to use a little bit more sparingly because I don't want it to run out. But thankfully I've been able to get a bigger 200ml bottle. I've bought one, I believe it's in the post. It's a 2014 batch, so I'm hoping it performs as similar to this one. And this fragrance is quite special to me because it's the first fragrance I bought with my own money after I graduated from university and got a proper job. So once I got a proper job and started earning money after graduating university, this was the first fragrance I bought. I bought it on Boxing Day here in the UK from Debenhams, and it was on sale, so to speak. And I still think it was quite expensive at the time, but it was the first fragrance I bought with my hard-earned money, and I wore this so much that first year after Boxing Day. When I went back to the office after Christmas break, I started wearing this fragrance a lot more. It was a perfect scent for that time, winter going into spring. And wearing this one, I just felt so professional, quite grown up, a little bit more mature than what the other fragrances I was wearing as a young man at university. This was this scent which made me go from the university student to the working man, you know, a young professional. And I remember sitting at my desk doing work, I'd get whiffs of this fragrance and I just feel so professional, so clean, like a classy gent. And I remember those times, and every time I wear this fragrance, it sort of reminds me of that time. You know, I wasn't earning a lot at that time either, but it was my first proper job. So yeah, that's why it's in the collection, and I'll always have this fragrance in my collection because it smells incredible as well. I know for me, it's got sentimental value, but other than that, it smells incredible as well. So let me give this a quick spray. I mean, this fragrance has been spoken about to death over the years. So you know, I can't say anything more than what you've already know, but the opening for me is just a beautiful blast of citruses. Two main citruses for me on my skin. It's the orange and the grapefruit. The citruses come across quite sweet in the opening, very juicy. As the fragrance develops into the heart, it loses the grapefruit for me and the sweetness of the citrus. The citrus starts becoming slightly dirtier, woodier. There's a gorgeous sort of flint mineral note in the heart. And as the fragrance dries down, it's introduced to some earthy notes, possibly coming from the vetiver. So it gets a lot more drier and woodier and earthier. And the fragrance, in a nutshell, is like picking up a very ripe orange from the ground. And the ground is like clay and dusty and dry. So you're just picking up a really ripe apple, not apple, sorry, orange from the ground, and the ground is like really earthy and dry. That's the sort of smell that this gives off. Super pleasing sort of scent in my opinion, but has so much character. Like, this is like niche level for me. The amount of the way it smells, the complexity, it's not like your run-of-the-mill designer scent. It's truly, for me, a modern masterpiece. Performance is really good on my skin as well. I get close to 10 hours of longevity. Projection is above average. It's in the strong range. It's not quite beastly. It's not in the moderate range or soft. It's just a touch above the medium moderate range. So it's quite strong on my skin. I've been noticed at work as well. I've been complimented by females at work, males at work, my managers. People have complimented me. Even now, like, I wore this last summer for a barbecue at my uncle's house. My younger cousin, she complimented me as well. She gave me a hug and she said, "Oh, you smell lovely." So yeah, this is a scent which I still get compliments on. I do suffer a little bit of nasal fatigue. Sometimes people compliment me and I can't smell it myself. But so yeah, people do maybe get nasal fatigue. But yeah, Terre d'Hermès have to have this in my collection. It's a true masterpiece from the designer game. I just wish they made fragrances like this. So yeah, that's the third fragrance on my list. Majority of these first few fragrances are going to be more on the sort of signature style fragrances. So fragrances which work for many occasions, especially work. You know, we spend most of our time at work, and I like wearing nice fragrances to work. It just makes the day go easier, and the days just feel much more enjoyable. So yeah, the first few selections of this video, they're geared more towards like versatile and signature fragrances. But these signature fragrances, even though they are pleasing, they still have so much character. You know, I don't just wear pleasing fragrances because they smell nice. They have to have some level of character, some sort of enjoyment, some part of art in that scent as well. So I would argue these three selections so far are artful fragrances, but still very versatile. Moving on is a niche scent, and I've only got a decant. This is my second decant. I've got another 50ml decant as well, which is why I don't have a bottle. It's from the house of Tweed, and it's Green Orange Tweed. Released in the mid-80s, the perfumer behind this is Pierre Bourdon, and this is just a masterful fragrance. It's one of the most pleasing, masculine sort of scents. My wife loves this fragrance on me as well. It smells magical. If you've ever smelled Cool Water, the perfumer behind Cool Water was Pierre Bourdon as well. So both the same perfumers. Cool Water was released in the 90s. This was released in the mid-80s. This is like Cool Water, but on steroids. It's just way better version of Cool Water. It smells, as the name suggests, quite green. It's got this, where people say this smells like Irish green soap. Irish spring soap, sorry. That's the sort of smell. It's very clean, fresh smelling. There's a gorgeous ambergris, sandalwood in here. There's lemon verbena, greenness. Very fresh smelling. Is a perfect sort of signature scent as well. But for me, I would leave this for very important sort of days, like formal events, maybe job interviews. If you're going to a wedding, a daytime wedding, and you dress quite well, you can wear this at night or day. Works really well every single season of the year. Very versatile, especially great for the spring, in my opinion. Performs excellently on my skin as well. I get around 10 hours of longevity. This is a 2014 batch. I'm not too sure about the recent batches from Creed. Lasts long, projects really well. My wife loves this. Everyone in my family, friends, they really enjoy the scent on me. It's got this real, like, money sort of vibe to it. Like, if you smell someone wearing this, it comes across like they've done well in their life. They're quite successful. Performs excellently, like I've said, nearly close to 10 hours of longevity with strong projection. I get noticed, compliments on this, and I feel a certain way wearing this fragrance. I have to have it in my collection. I've got a decant right now. Once I finish those decants, I am going to try and save money to buy a bottle. So yeah, fourth on the list is Green Orange Tweed. Green Orange Tweed from the house of Creed. And this is one fragrance as well I just want to mention. When I was like a poor university student, I used to watch a lot of Frag Crom, YouTube reviews back then, early 2010s. And guys like Robes08, my Mickers, he chose this as his fragrance when he won Fragrance Idol that Mark used to do back in the day. And I used to just be like, wow, can't wait till one day I'll be able to just smell this, let alone own the juice in my collection. I live in quite a small town. I don't have big fragrance shops here in the town that I live in. I have to actually travel out of my city in order to smell fragrances. And I remember the first day I smelled this, I saw the tester. I tried to spray it on a piece of card, but the tester was completely gone, and I knew it was very popular fragrance. But I smelled the nozzle. I believe the store that I was in was House of Fraser's in Birmingham. I smelled the nozzle and I was just like blown away of how it smelled, and that feeling has never gone away. You know, dreaming about wanting to just smell this and now having it in my collection, even though it's a decant, I still feel so blessed. It's a special fragrance for me. It smells fantastic as well, so I love to have this in my top 10 fragrances of all time. So yeah, Green Orange Tweed from the house of Creed. Next on the list is a fragrance from the house of Guerlain, and this is a fragrance which is new to my collection for this year. This is Rouge, the Eau de Toilette version. I used to have the Eau de Parfum version in my collection for a very long time. I had the decant of the Eau de Parfum version since I believe 2016 or even 2015. I had that decant for a long time, a 10ml decant. Then I got a bottle, I believe, in 2020. So I had a bottle for a while, and then recently I was quite tempted to just try out the Eau de Toilette version. And since wearing the Eau de Toilette version, I've not worn the EDP. I've retired that bottle, and the Eau de Toilette version for me is the Rouge to wear. It's the original one that was released, I believe, in the 60s, if I remember correctly. Is the quintessential Rouge. There's different versions like Parfum, Eau de Parfum, there's a Distinct, Dress Code, all of them. For me, the original Eau de Toilette is the one to get. So how does this one smell? This has a beautiful, like, bright lemon sort of opening. The lemon in this smells like lemon sherbet, sort of a candied lemon opening. Very unique. And along with that, as the fragrance develops, it picks up some spiciness. There's a gorgeous Brazilian rosewood, which has like a woody, spicier feel. So if you haven't smelled Brazilian rosewood before, it has like a woodiness with a spiciness to it. That mixes really well with the lemony citrus. There's other citrus notes as well, like the bergamot and lime, but the lemon is at the forefront. As the fragrance develops on my skin, it becomes quite spicy. I get a spiciness, a touch of rose as well, which gives off a sort of clean floralness. As the scent develops, it becomes this gorgeous mix of leather, a bit of patchouli and vanilla. Vanilla Guerlain just do fantastic. This is like the masculine version of Shalimar. When I wear this one, I feel quite, what's the way to put it? Like I'm done quite well in life, you know. I'm a person that grew up in a council house to immigrant parents, proper working class. I grew up, but wearing this one, I feel like an upper class, like an aristocrat. My wife watches this show, Bridgerton. I think it's absolute crap, but my wife loves that show, and sometimes when I'm on my phone, I'll just glance up and see the characters of the show, and they dress so well and going to these lovely parties. I would imagine them, the gentlemen, smelling like this Rouge. It just gives off a really lovely, like, high class aristocrat sort of feel. And even though I'm very working class, that's how I feel when I wear this. I feel like I'm a very classy gentleman. I've got a huge estate, you know, big home. I've maybe got horses. I've got workers. That's the sort of smell that this gives off. Quite a regal smell, actually. And even though it smells like that, it has like there's enough versatility in this fragrance that this works really well as someone's signature fragrance. You could wear this to work, especially you can wear this to formal events. I love wearing this on nights out as well, when I go for dinner dates with my wife or go out for dinner with my siblings, with family. It works really well. Works pretty much every season. I wouldn't wear it in the high heat of summer, but spring autumn, fall, winter, works really, really well. I've noticed that when I first got the bottle, the performance wasn't great on my skin, but I'm not sure why. It's been in my collection. Maybe the bottle have macerated, I'm not sure. Even though I bought a used bottle, so that shouldn't be the case, but it's performing better on me now. And maybe because it's the cooler weather now, maybe this performs better on my skin when it's cooler rather than when the weather is warmer when I pick this bottle up. So for me, longevity is around 8 hours. It doesn't go more than that. 6 hours is good longevity. The 7 and 8 hour is just there as a whimper. It's not very strong in the last couple of hours, but 8 hours of longevity with moderate projection. I used to think that this was projecting quite softly on me, but since I've been wearing this in the cool weather, I've noticed that it projects quite well. And I'm very, very happy about that because this is a gorgeous scent. So yeah, next on the list was Rouge from the house of Guerlain. A really, really masterful fragrance. And like I mentioned, even though it has this sort of formal upper class sort of smell to it, and there is complexity in this scent. It's a scent which really develops on your skin. It does a complete 180. The opening is this bright, candied sort of lemony opening, some spiciness, some rose and a heart. But the dry down, it does a complete 180. It starts smelling like vanilla, some leather, patchouli. It's gorgeous. It smells like sweet dust in the dry down. It does a complete 180. Very, very artistic, lovely sort of development on your skin. It's not one of those simple fragrances that have no development. Another thing I want to mention is this fragrance was used a lot by Frenchmen. French men used to use this as their signature scent, really way in the back. So a lot of French people would know this fragrance really well because a lot of men used to wear this as their signature fragrance. I believe now the Gen Zs, maybe even the millennials, the younger millennials have turned their back on this scent because it just reminds them of their older fathers, their older granddads, their older uncles, so they don't wear this one as much. But for me personally, people in my family don't wear this, so I really enjoy this myself. So yeah, that's Rouge or the Toilette from the house of Guerlain. That one was the 5th fragrance in this collection. Okay, so 5 of those fragrances are more on the signature line, fragrances that are very versatile, that I truly enjoy. I would argue they're very, very artistic. So Ormonde Man, Rose 31, Terre, Musc, Green Orange Tweed, and Rouge. Fragrances where I could wear every single day to work, any season, mostly any season, any occasion, formal, work, dinner date, nights out, any occasion, signature scent style. Next 2 fragrances I'm going to be talking about are more on the night out range. So the next fragrance I'm going to be speaking about is Fahrenheit from the house of Christian Dior. This is like real masculine sort of scent, and I love wearing this on like a night out. I feel like such a man when I wear this. It's a powerhouse from the 80s. How does this smell? Let's see. So this opens up quite fresh and bright on my skin. You get this lovely sort of violet. There's a touch of Lebanon verbena if I'm not mistaken. It's quite green in the opening, and it has this lovely note of petroleum. It smells like petrol. So it's really strange why it gives off that sort of smell. The opening is like, when I imagine like a gas-powered lawnmower, you mow in the grass, you get this greenness, the mix of greenness and the fumes of the petroleum. That's the sort of smell that this gives off. I've not smelled any fragrance which smells like this. And it's amazing that little quote there. I've never smelled a fragrance like this. Fragrances, when they become really popular, high sellers, like this one is, people tend to copy them. Like imagine Sauvage. How many people have tried to copy Sauvage's DNA? I should say Chanel's Bleu de Chanel. That came out first with that sort of blue ambery wood sort of smell. And so many other fragrance companies have tried to copy it. You've got Dior, which came out with Sauvage, which was so similar to Bleu de Chanel. You had Versace, Dylan Blue. You even had Roger Parfums, who brought out their blue fragrance. Forgot the name of that one. But yeah, it's that blue bottle, which Elysium. Again, these blue sort of smells, these ambery woods, ambroxan sort of smells. But nobody's ever tried to copy Fahrenheit. I've not smelt it. I don't know any fragrance which has this sort of vibe, that petroleum sort of vibe. As the fragrance dries down, it does pick up some lovely sort of leatheriness, and it feels like a leather jacket. And it's that mix of petroleum and leather jacket. This fragrance just smells so masculine when I wear it, and I love wearing this on like sort of a night out. Night outs for me is like a meal out with my friends, meal out with my wife or my siblings, my family. And I like wearing this when I'm dressed a little bit better than I'm dressed when I'm at home or when I'm at work. You know, I'm dressed in nicer casual clothing. I like to wear this. It gives off a certain vibe that I really enjoy. Fantastic performance on my skin as well. This is, I believe, a 2009 bottle. It lasts on my skin around 12 hours with strong projection. It's not soft, it's strong. And yeah, I really do enjoy this one. And I have to have a night out fragrance in my collection. What's a better one than Fahrenheit from the house of Christian Dior? Yeah, so that's next on the list. Another fragrance which I love and wanted to keep in my collection is Musc Ravaguer from the house of Fredric Malle. And the nose behind this scent it's written here actually, Maurice Roussel. He was the gentleman that created Bond No. 9's New Harlem. He's created other cheaper fragrances as well. Rochas Man, I believe he's created Nautica Voyage, which is a great cheapie. But for me, his best fragrance is Musc Ravaguer from Fredric Malle. Now, Musc Ravaguer, I remember reviewing it back in 2015, and I thought it was a great fragrance. And I reviewed it quite objectively. I gave it, I believe, 4 out of 5 or 4.5 out of 5. I knocked off a point because of the performance. I felt like because of the price that this fragrance goes for, it should last a lot longer and project a lot more. And I feel like I was being overly harsh. For me now, this is a true 10 out of 10 fragrance. I've just really enjoy wearing this fragrance when it gets cold. It has such a comforting sort of smell on my skin. It's the vanilla in this which feels like a real comforting sort of scent. You know, when it's quite cold outside, especially here in the UK, the winters get quite miserable. The sun's not out for a very long time. You're lucky if the sun is out from 8 till 4 o'clock. And even though the sun's out at that time, it's super overcast, super cloudy. So it's a grey, dull sort of days in the winter. This one, Musc Ravaguer, just lifts my mood up when I wear it. I feel quite cozy. It's just like a warm blanket. And there's so much character in this scent as well. Like the opening of Musc Ravaguer, let me just give this a spray. It's not your usual run-of-the-mill vanillas. The opening is this gorgeous, complex mix of clove and musk and spiciness. There's a touch of cinnamon. There's a touch of orange as well. It gives off a lovely muskiness in this scent, which smells so good, especially for me who enjoys animalic sort of fragrances. This opening is gorgeous. Some people find the opening to be quite harsh and off-putting, but for me, I adore the opening. It's just got so much character, so much boldness, which I really enjoy. But as the fragrance develops, the vanilla starts taking up the center stage. It becomes the main player of this scent. And this fragrance becomes this really warm, lovely vanilla with a touch of that animalic muskiness and the spiciness of the clove from the opening. And the vanilla is just so soothing and comforting. I love wearing this in the winter. I could happily wear this to work. I have done in the past, worn it to the office, and I've had no issue. People know I'm a bit crazy about fragrances, so I've not said anything. But yeah, I love wearing this in the winter. This would be my winter signature scent. At the moment, I'm really enjoying wearing this on nights out. When I go for dates with my wife, I love wearing Musc Ravaguer. It makes me feel a certain way, and I have to have it in my collection. In the past, I used to wear a lot of Maharis, which is a clone of Musc Ravaguer, which you can pick up quite cheaply for like £20, much cheaper, around 10 times less the price of this one. It smells very good, and I loved wearing that one in the winter as well. It just gave off that sort of lovely, comforting sort of smell. And now that I have Musc Ravaguer, which I feel so lucky to have in my collection, it's a scent which I just love wearing when it's cold. It gives off a lovely, comforting sort of smell. It's got so much complexity as well to keep me interested. So yeah, Musc Ravaguer from the house of Fredric Malle. Okay, next on the list is a fragrance which I absolutely adore. If you've been a fan of my channel, you know this fragrance is L'Eau de Homme from the house of Miyaki. And even though I love this fragrance, it was one of the first few fragrances that I've tried that blew me away and got me into the fragrance journey, or the fragrance game, so to speak. But there's a good reason to keep this in the collection, not just because I love the fragrance, because it's going to be my summer scent. So here in the UK, we don't really get much of a summer most of the time. Like this year, I think we only got about 10 days of really good hot sunny days here in the UK. The rest of the time, this summer was quite mild. It didn't rain as much, but it was quite mild. It didn't have really hot blasting summer. But for me, if I was to choose a summer scent, it would be L'Eau de Homme from the house of Miyaki. Summer, most of the time, I'm between two fragrances. This one and Acqua di Gio from Giorgio Armani. But this one, it's a bit ahead for me compared to Acqua di Gio, which is why it's in my 10 fragrances for life. How does this one smell? Just gorgeous citrus in the opening. It has the citrus note of yuzu, which is a fragrant citrus note from Japan. And along with that gorgeous yuzu note, which is so unique compared to the other citrus notes, it smells so much better than bergamot, lime, lemon, you name it, orange, whatever citrus notes you're thinking about. Yuzu is just levels ahead. It's got this real like unique sort of smell to that citrus note. It's fresh and clean, but it's got this lovely sort of masculine edge to it as well. Along with that, you get some nutmeg, this beautiful nutmeg with the spiciness. There's a touch of cinnamon, I believe, in here. There's a lovely note of florals, especially the lily. And then the dry down, you pick up a little bit more of the woods as well. Very complex for a fresh fragrance. Another massive plus for this one is its performance. For a fresh fragrance, this lasts on my skin around 8 to 10 hours, and the projection is very strong as well. Very strong. I'm able to smell it. It's not like those summer fresh fragrances, they're gone within 4 hours and project quite softly. This one projects very strongly. I've picked up so many compliments over the years as well. It's probably my #1 most complimented fragrance. Compliments from work, from friends, from family, from my wife as well. So real compliment getter. And like I've mentioned just a few minutes ago, it's one of the fragrances that got me into the fragrance game. I remember when I wanted to buy a fragrance, I went into Debenhams and I was testing so many fragrances, thinking what's going to be my one fragrance that I want to buy. I'm just going to buy the one fragrance. It's going to be my signature scent. And I was testing so many fragrances. And at the time, 1 million was so popular. So the sales assistant pushed me to buy that one. But it was L'Eau de Homme and Dolce & Gabbana, the one. Those two fragrances were the one that really blew me away at that time. And I wish I bought this as my first fragrance in my collection. But yeah, this one really blew me away when I first smelled it. When I first smelled it, I wanted this to be my signature scent. So yeah, a choice in my collection for those summer days. I think it's the best choice as a summer scent. So that's going to be L'Eau de Homme by Miyaki. So this is more of a sensible choice in this collection because I need something for the summer. Okay, next on the list is from the house of Areej Dore, and this is Siberian Musk. And I've chosen, I need a fragrance in my collection. So those are more everyday sort of where I need a very special fragrance in my collection as well. For those days when I want to be at home in solitude, maybe it's the weekend, it's Saturday, I want to read a book, and I want a nice fragrance which is just created with the finest materials in the world. It's not like your run-of-the-mill fragrance that you can go out to any shop and smell. It's super unique. This fragrance is discontinued. You can't get it anymore. It's a special fragrance, and this fragrance is special to me as well because I was gifted this fragrance from the perfumer and the man behind the brand as well, Russian Adam, who's behind Areej Dore. He gave this fragrance to me along with the others of this collection as a gift. So I have to have one in my final top 10 of all time. And it's Siberian Musk. This is the Siberian Musk 3. I was really fortunate to smell Siberian Musk 1. And when I first smelled Siberian Musk 1, I remember smelling it, and it just like sort of teleported me back to my childhood and being a child, running around my house, my grandparents' house, and running into coats. And in the hallway of my granddad's house, he used to keep his coats hanging on hooks, and I'd run into the coats and I'd push my head around and just walk through the coats as a strange young man. I've seen other young children do that as well. I'm not sure why we do it. And I remember this one blue coat that my grandfather used to have, and he had a distinctive smell. And Siberian Musk for me had that same smell. I'm not sure why and how, and even how to describe it, but it had that same smell, and it reminded me of my granddad's coat, and it just transported me to being around 6 years old and smelling my grandfather's blue coat. So Siberian Musk 3, how does it smell? So like I've said, this fragrance uses one of the most expensive natural ingredients. Russian Adam, he's a distiller himself, so he distills a lot of these ingredients. He sources these amazing, I can smell the fragrance just from here how strong it is, and I've just done a little half spray. And he, like I was just talking, sources really expensive fragrance notes, and he uses really expensive ingredients to create a very, very artistic fragrance. And I need an artistic, super artistic, artisanal fragrance in this collection, and that's Siberian Musk 3. It's a beautiful musk scent. So this is using musk from Siberia, I believe. You're not going to be able to smell anything like this anymore in designer or niche. You're only going to get it from brands like Areej, Dore, these really ultra high-end niche, high-end artisanal independent perfumers. There's like this gorgeous bright greenness, like pine. It's a mix of pine greenness. There's fresh citruses in here as well, mixing with the note of the musk. The musk in Siberian Musk 3 is so alluring. It smells so sensual as well. Musk, genuine deer musk as well. So genuine deer musk from the deer, the pod has been extracted and is derived the musk from this. And musk was always used in ancient times as like an aphrodisiac. So, and again, this fragrance, it smells so sexy in an artistic way, not in a crass sort of way, in an artistic way, super sensual. I could imagine myself wearing this maybe if I go to the theater with my wife, or an opera, or one of these high-end where I'm dressed really, really smartly. Yeah, just super artistic. Performance is amazing on this fragrance as well. Beastly longevity, beastly projection. It lasts on my skin 24 hours, more than 24 hours. Like I've sprayed this in the morning when it was Friday prayers. So we call it Jumma for Friday prayers. I wanted to pick something special on a Friday. And I remember Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, I had a lie-in. I went for a shower and I could still smell it. That's how strong this fragrance is. Really beautiful, amazing sort of smell. And I have to have it in my collection as a scent which is complex and will give me that sort of when I want to know how artistic and how amazing fragrances can be, I can wear this one to remind me of the true artists in this world. So yeah, Siberian Musk 3 is the 9th fragrance we're speaking about. So ending the list is going to be an oud oil. And obviously, as you guys know on this channel, I wear conventional fragrances, designers, I wear niche, I wear indie, and I also love oud fragrances, oud oils, genuine high-grade artisanal oud fragrances. I also love others as well, like Sultan Pasha, Mellifluence, those guys, but oud as well. And this one is Tigerwood Royale from the house of Ensar Oud. So this is an aged Malaysian oil from 2001. So the wood of this oil was very, very old, but distilled in 2001, and it's been aging since then. And I used to have a sample of this. I remember buying the sample, I believe in 2017. It was a very small 0.3 grams of a sample. Every weekend I used to look forward to wearing it, just smelling the dipstick. I feel very blessed to be able to have a full bottle in my collection now. I believe this is now discontinued. But this is one of the most complex, intoxicating sort of smells I've ever smelled. Just oud oil. This is just oud from Malaysia, but the complexity, the development on your skin is insane, that you just cannot get from fragrances, just normal fragrances. You just cannot. And it's amazing how one piece of wood, just oud oil itself, can have so many sort of notes in it, so many different nuances. Every wearing of this, I get a little bit more than what I got before, or a little less of what I got before. Each wearing is unique. So I'm not going to dip any on my skin now, because I'm going to go to the gym later, and I know if I put a little bit on my skin, it's going to project and it's going to stay on my skin the rest of the day. It's super highly concentrated sort of perfume, really deep, dark, sort of black oil, gorgeous. And it has this sort of ambery hue as well. Tigerwood Royale, how I would describe it, is sort of medicinal woods with incense, smoky sort of incense of medicinal woods. There's some sort of greenness in here as well. It just smells like nothing you'll ever smell before. Performance, like I've mentioned, beastly. Over 24 hours with strong projection. You just need a tiny dot of this, and it just, the smell of this is, like I've mentioned, pure ecstasy. You know, imagine the high that you'd get from sort of those drugs that you'd get in South America. They make you drink this sort of drug. I've saw it on TV. I don't do drugs myself, but they say that you take this sort of, it's similar to LSD, and it transports you to another dimension. That's the sort of smell that I get from Tigerwood Royale. The smell, it doesn't smell like the smell is from this dimension. It feels foreign, because it's nothing like you can get from spray fragrances. And I need an oud fragrance in my collection, you know. Like I mentioned, when I'm in solitude, when I'm at home, maybe reading a book, or I'm on my computer and I'm going to code something. For those coding sessions, I need something truly, truly special, and it's going to be Tigerwood Royale for me. I also wore this on my wedding day as well. So when I got married, I wore Tigerwood Royale, along with a touch of Rouge up there as well from the House of Mellifluence. But yeah, Tigerwood Royale is special because I wore it on my wedding as well. It's a truly unique, regal sort of smell, and that caps it off. 10 fragrances for the rest of my life. Throw the others away. I think if I had this 10 collection, I would be quite happy. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this video. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'd love to know what your 10 fragrances would be. Post them in the comment section below. I love reading comments. Even if it's not top 10, maybe give your top 3, top 5. I love to read them as well. Guys, thank you for joining me on this video. I'll see you another time. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do. Thank you so much. Goodbye.